Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a Wednesday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's go to our friends over in the West in particular, and of course speak with the reigning champions in the Western Australia Netball League, and of course that is the West Coast Warriors. And of course, we got the head coach joins us right now to tell us a bit about how it's been like for the team this past season, as well as leading up to that title defence again in 2022. And her name's Lorraine Ward. She joins us right now. Thanks so much for joining us.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Well, firstly, tell us a bit about the amazing season it was for the Warriors as you defend that title this past season.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible, really, because the previous two, we had the amazing Nellie Wallum on board, and you know, she was scoring an average of 63.3 goals per game. And then we lost her. And that's a lot of goals to miss per game. It was really hard work. So probably this win meant the most, I think, because we had to work really, really hard for it. Couldn't be prouder of the girls, especially the attack end, who really had to work overtime. And it was just amazing that the girls did the work and that we got the three-peat. That was pretty special.
About how much that this premiership meant to not just yourself and I'm assuming your coaches as well, but I guess it meant a lot more for the players, which obviously I had a chance to speak to your captain, Steph Cooper, a couple of weeks ago. Mention now that obviously you lost your main goal scorer from the last 2 years. I guess, is there any more the reason why this premiership meant a lot more?
Besides the Nelly factor, and that was such a huge factor. And we had our trials late. So we didn't have a lot of selection to make up that shooting end there. And also I had to get the girls to actually believe in them without Nelly, that they were good enough. But we all jumped on board with that, and we had a bit of we had a thing that was power, passion, and premiership. Power was about the fact that we had the ability to write our own story, not what the story everyone else was saying was that we couldn't do it without Nelly. And we just all brought into that, and we're all very close-knit anyway. But I think there's a lot of pride and cultures built on family as well, and we just all dug in and got the job done, and it was really special to all of us involved, the board of Warriors, everybody. So yeah, I've just been blessed with an amazing group of players that get on really well.
Captain Steph Cooper, how important was she, especially her on-court leadership?
Oh, really important. She didn't see herself as leadership quality, but she was amazing. She's tough when she has to be, but very calm demeanor about her. And she lets her actions speak louder than her words. But she's a real valuable team member and friend to the team.
I'm assuming you might have had your trials already. Am I correct?
Correct. Yep.
How did that all go? And I guess how much, was there a really good turnout for that?
Yeah, it was really good. Probably a lot more in the younger age group. But we basically kept the core of our group together. One of our defenders, Natalie Bright, is having a year off. She's just graduated and become a nurse. So she's going to do that role. And Maddie O'Regan, one of our shooting end players, she's retired, but she's coming back on board as our club captain to look after everyone. And we've obviously got Nelly back this year as well. So the core of the group's looking pretty damn good. Yeah.
Mention that you got your main shooter back, Nelly. She was very similar to one of the other players you just mentioned, that she was going to have a year off. Was that similar with Nelly as well?
Nelly was looking for a Suncorp contract.
Oh, okay.
She will be a training partner at Fever, but obviously she'll get sent back to us at WANL to play and get court time. So we're not basing everything on Nelly. We've learnt that lesson and we know how to do it without Nelly. So it'll be a work in progress again for us this year.
I'm sure most of the turnout at trials were in the younger age groups, which is, I think, it's the 23s, if my memory serves me correct, over there.
20 and under.
20 and under, that's right.
Yeah.
I guess how good is to see that many numbers at trials, especially from the younger age group?
Oh, it's amazing because it means that you can keep developing and growing your club, and such fresh, excitable young players. They can't wait to get out there, and we can't wait to see them and work with them as well. But it was really good to see so many were interested.
How's, I guess, the pre-season for that title defence?
Yeah, well, the girls enjoyed running in the 38-degree heat the other day. And eating some flies in the process as well. So, yeah, the hot weather over here is making it a bit hard, but we're underway. And the girls are so resilient, they'll deal with whatever's thrown at them. They're pretty happy to be back together again, although they would like cooler weather.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
You mentioned about, I guess, for the girls, it was great to be back with each other on the court again. Obviously, I know it was a pretty quick turnaround from when the season finished to now. But I guess I'm assuming they missed each other in the times since that season finished till now.
Yeah, I'm not sure how. We kind of had 4 celebration parties once we won that final. So we took a while to celebrate all of that. We have still had birthdays and lots of things where we've been together again, but yeah, it's good to give them the break because they do come back really excited about it. We're all pretty determined to go for the quaddie this time. So yeah.
That's right. So the question I asked Steph a couple of weeks ago, which I'm going to ask you now, a bit about the grand final in particular. I think you played against the Raw in that grand final, if my memory serves me correct. Was there a certain point in that game that you, as coaches, that you felt comfortable enough to know, I guess, to enjoy the moment, even though I know you don't want to let the foot off the pedal, but feel comfortable enough to enjoy the moment of the grand final knowing that you won the premiership?
Probably not until the last minute, I don't think. It was a fairly tight game all the way through, and it got down to us just being 2 goals up in that last quarter. Raw came back with some vengeance at us, and I just thought the ball was going down to their attacking end, and I actually said to my manager, if we don't turn the ball over here, we could be in a bit of trouble. And Katie Brown came out and took a sensational intercept, and we took it down and converted. I guess when we were 5 up with that, just over a minute to go, I kind of thought we're okay here, but I was never really settled until that final whistle, and it was such a sense of relief and achievement at the same time. But yeah, it was pretty hectic. It was a great grand final.
Tell us a bit about the MVP of that grand final. How important was her game throughout that whole final?
Oh my gosh, Caitlin Brown was just sensational through the whole final series, actually. And look, we've always known our defensive end's been pretty damn good, because even with Nelly in, you don't have 80 centre passes. Your defense is turning the ball a lot, turning it over a lot to get it down to her to have that many attempts. So we were pretty comfortable that we're quite strong in that area. And we had Jess Eels coming back from her ACL slowly but surely. So consistent and strong and really confident within herself, and with Steph behind her and Nat around her. But she was very much the standout during that series.
It's about Cam Brown, who were the MVP. She plays down, I guess, my favourite part of the court, down the defence. Tell us about the other 2, and I guess how important, integral part of that grand final was their the defence.
Oh, it was so invaluable. Raw's shooting end is very, very, very good. So you know, we knew that we would have to try and limit them as much as what we could. And we had to turn ball over to give our attack end as much opportunity. And, you know, Coops is just like a bit of a, not a loud general down the back there, but she definitely dictates down there. Katie's only 21, so she's only been playing defence 2 years, I think. She was a goal shooter, goal attack. So she's just doing an amazing job. And Nat Bright is very experienced. Don't think she enjoyed wing defence as much as she does being GD.
Okay.
But that it just built a wall, and they were so cohesive, and brought the ball out beautifully as well in transition. So they were super strong. And obviously, team of the year over here, well, we had all the players except for the GS and GA. So that spoke volumes about how good they are.
Tell us a bit about your coaching staff and how, you know, how cohesive was, you know, you and the coaching staff there to make such a successful season in a pretty tough year without, obviously, as you mentioned, with, you know, especially a major player loss that you had throughout 2021.
Yeah, I'm pretty much, I run the show. I'm a bit of a general, but I was very lucky to have a male coach with me, John, who, you know, had specific roles with the defensive end as well, and got on really well with all the girls. And we brought young Tibby Galbraith up as well from the 20s as an apprentice coach. And she actually settled in really well and did so well there. Jess Eels is also an assistant coach.
Okay.
And Jess really had the job of running that defensive end, because I had to spend a lot of the time with the attack end, with them all being so new and young as well. A lot of my time was taken up in that area. So I was really comfortable and very lucky that I had those people able to work in the other areas for me, that's for sure.
You mentioned about Jess. Obviously, she plays as well. So how important is to have someone who's actually there on the court and experiencing what's like being a player?
Well, I think it's very different. They have a very different view than what I have of it from the bench. And she's very good at letting me know and being honest about things. And, you know, I really relied on her quite a lot, but I think it does give them a much better view, an idea than what we have from the side of the court, that's for sure. And she's back on board this year again, still playing, but she'll be assistant coach as well with me. So I'm wrapped.
So my question I want to follow up from that is, what have you learnt from Jess, especially like, did it change the way that you coach in regards to like getting feedback from like someone that's a player?
Yeah, I think particularly with systems, because I look at them on paper and I can set them up and everything, but how the players feel about it and the language they use to work those systems is very different. So I learned a lot in that area from Jess, that's for sure. And she's great at a wall. She loves a wall, which, you know, it's good that I can still learn from them, from those guys as well. We do have a very cohesive team like that. I'm always asking them, and we all have input into what's happening and which way we want to go in the game plan. So it's pretty good.
For you, how did you get involved in netball, and what does the sport of netball mean to you now?
Oh, my Lord, it was so long ago. Basically, it was always played at primary school when I went to school. So, you know, I did that with athletics and a lot of other sports as well. But I think the coaching, I kind of just fell into that. I joined when my marriage broke up, I was living in New South Wales. So I came home to WA and I wanted to get back into, most people I went to school with had moved away. So I saw an advert in the paper for a playing coach and I thought, well, I don't know, I'll give it a go. And that's where it all sprung from there, and then just slowly started doing association teams and then regional teams and built it up from there. So, yeah, and now I seem to live and breathe netball. But I've gotten a lot more out of it than I've put in, that's for sure.
When you went for that coaching role, when you returned back to WA, did you ever thought that, I guess a couple of years down the track that you were going to be, was that 2 or 3 time champion in the WANL competition?
Never in my wildest dreams. I just wanted to play back then. And I did break my ankle pretty badly when I was 40. So that kind of put a bit of a halt to the playing career. And someone said, oh, you should do one of our association teams. And I found I actually really loved the coaching and I loved being challenged. And, I didn't even know there was such a thing as accreditation. And I was actually laughing the other day, my first year with Warriors when I did the under-17s back then. At the end of the year, I got a check in the mail and it was for $500, I think. And I rang them up and said they'd made a mistake because I thought they were paying $50 for my dinner ticket. And I didn't know you got, I didn't know you got paid for it. Like I had no idea. So that was an added bonus that came along. But like tomorrow, I'm going to have a breakfast with a lot of ex-players that aren't playing now, and some that still are, like Hayley McKee and Tess Cransberg. I've coached them all at different times, but they've all had babies
Nice.
now. So we're having a little get together so that Nana Rain can see all the babies tomorrow. And that's the best part of coaching is all of that stuff that comes along with it. So it's really nice.
I guess further to that question, why did you choose the West Coast Warriors when you went into the WANL? And I guess how important have they been throughout your coaching journey?
Oh, really important. Basically, I was always played my netball down at Wanneroo Districts Netball, who now currently hold the licence for West Coast Warriors, but obviously not that long ago. That was just the natural progression. And I was there for a fair while, and then one year they didn't give me a job, so I moved over to what is now Raw and coached there for 8 years and had a premiership with them. But yeah, it's always been home. The people that are still in place there now are people that are lifelong friends for me, and still very much involved with them all. And they were probably the first lot of people that really believed in me as a coach and thought I could do something. So I owe them a debt, I think. Yeah.
Throughout your coaching journey, I know you don't want to single any players out, but is there like a top 5 players that you've coached that was a standout throughout your coaching time at the Warriors? I know you don't want to single anyone out because obviously they're all amazing, but is there a 5?
Everyone always says that Hayley McKee is one of my favourites, and I shall totally agree with that. I've always loved watching her play. I've coached her since she was 12, going on 13, and she's, now engaged and have the baby, and she's a lovely player to watch and just a lovely player to have in the team. She's always been really special. And her twin sister, Rochelle McKee, she was such a smart player. And they were as different as chalk and cheese. Rochelle always wanted to do everything by the book, but she would go home and study Nat Von Berdo and how she moved in centre. And she was just so smart and so clever. Just love both of them off the court. They're more like family than they are players. I have to say that Nellie Wallum has been an absolute delight. And I think that we will have a lifelong friendship as well together, but amazing to watch her growth. It is really hard because I absolutely adore Steph Cooper. She was just kind of plodding along there and sometimes shooter, sometimes GK. And when I selected her in the open side and I said to her, I'm sorry, but I'm only playing you in one position and that's, defence. And she gave me the biggest hug and she was so happy that finally she could specialise in something. Yeah, she was amazing. I absolutely love Helen Taylor as a player as well. Little pocket rocket full of guts and wonderful teammate and person off the court as well. So is that 5? That's probably my 5, I think. Yeah, I'll get in trouble for this, but I do dearly love them all.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I will apologise to the players that she's missed out. Well, I had to ask that question, so so please don't blame her for if she singled you out. So you can blame it on me. But my question I want to ask you is, what would be your advice to people out there who are thinking about coaching? Like, it doesn't matter what sport, but in this case, netball. What would be your advice to them if they want to get involved in netball, in coaching wise?
If they want to get involved, do it. Persist with it, because at times you don't always get what you want or what you expect. You do have to work your way through the ranks. Go and watch lots of other coaches in different sports as well. Back in my day, I read books. I had no courses back then. So I would read books and, do what I could to find out more. And even now, my trainings are always open to any coach from anywhere, because it's the easiest way to learn. But yeah, you'll get more reward from it than you will disappointment, because just the friendships you make and seeing someone grow and develop is just an amazing experience to be able to do it. So go ahead, do it.
We'll finish with these three light-hearted questions about your team, your Premiership team. The first one is, what was the most embarrassing moment by any player that you saw in your team on the court?
Oh, that's a toss-up between Helen's commando roll over her own feet.
Yes.
Yeah. Secondly, would probably be Hannah Stokes asking for the right size ball, and we said, and she said, we use a size 6 ball, and I'm like, there is no size 6 netball. And can I tell you, this was in the semi-final warm-up. So yeah, that's why she has the nickname of Space Cadet. Bless her. So yeah, probably that one, I think, takes the cake. She got fined heavily for it. So.
Yeah, Steph did mention that one. So now I asked Steph this same question, which she had no recollection at all. But apparently, when she was doing her speech at the presentation, did someone try to knock over the sponsor advertising board when she was talking?
Yeah, absolutely. I had just given them all these caps that I'd had made up. I figure if footy does it, we can do it. And on the back, I had embroidered the 2019, 20 and 21. Thank gosh we won, because I would have got stuck with all these caps. But I was handing them out, and of course they're all being idiots and knocked over the whole sponsor signage. And yep, that's my girls.
Yeah. I was going to say, at least someone knew about it, because Steph had no recollection at all.
Yeah, I was doing the whole mother thing with gritted teeth, like, pick that up now. Oh dear.
Yes, and that was caught on camera, by the way. So on photography. Now I believe, is that the trophy behind you?
Oh yes, that's precious.
There it is. So I have to ask, I guess, how special is that for you as the coach to win that premiership? And has this year's premiership sunk in yet, even though it was, what, 3-4 months ago now?
Yeah. As I said to you, I think it was probably, you never forget your first one, but I think that one this year was ultra special to me. It really meant a lot. And probably the psychologist that I work with through the men's program, she always says to me that we never give ourselves a pat on the back, but I think that one I did take a minute to say, well, I'm really proud of that one and what I achieved during this year. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and I hope it never leaves my house.
Well, we'll definitely hope it doesn't leave your house and definitely doesn't leave the possession of the Warriors in 2022. Obviously, going for 4 in a row. And hopefully, I'm actually going to be there to, well, depend on how bad, if WA and Victoria can share it border. But hopefully, we'll be over there and supporting yourselves hopefully next year in 2022. Congratulations on winning that 3-peat. Talking to Steph and obviously the rest of the team as well that we've had on the show. They've said exactly what you've mentioned about this was the toughest one that they've been involved in and more rewarding that they've been involved in. And congratulations, well deserved. And let's hope 2022 can be another successful year for the West Coast Warriors. Obviously, not just for your team. I know that men's are going for back-to-back or 3-peat next year as well. And hopefully the 20s can. Yep. And hopefully the 20s can get up as well to make a clean sweep in 2022 in the WANL competition.
That's what we're hoping for. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Warriors, and that's Lorraine Ward there, joins from the West Coast Warriors there. Of course, you can get involved with the Warriors in 2022 by, of course, we'll put all the details up on that. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on the 10th year celebration.